So, good news. Checked out a van this morning. Exactly what I need. Super under budget. Only 2 owners. Guy just needs to get rid of it. Guys, I found my van. He's dropping it off tomorrow morning. So at this point of the video, you might be wondering, who am I? I'll tell you. As of November 26, 2019, if you do a Google search for what is van life, you'll come across a website called Rocky Mountain Camper Vans. Their definition: van life is a new term for an old idea. A life on the road is a life well lived, is one that I could not agree with more.
Hello and welcome if you've made it this far. Now that you've got the introduction, I'd really like to just informally jump into the subject of what I believe van life is for people around the world. I believe that van life is a way for people to make things possible in their lives that may otherwise not be if they were to live a traditional lifestyle. Now, some people have a lot of money and can do whatever they want. But for the rest of us, we're generally caught having to pick and choose the things that we want to do, and in return, the things that we're willing to sacrifice to make that happen. So you have this group of individuals who, instead of putting hundreds, if not thousands of dollars into a traditional home, would rather put that money into a mobile home that they can then use to travel their own country, if not the world.
As a professional athlete, I live and work in another country for most of the year. The problem I run into is when I come home. Contrary to popular belief about being a professional athlete, some of us don't make enough salary and/or can justify spending money on a home that we only live in for 2 to 3 months out of the year, maybe even less. So in my case, I end up staying with my parents, friends, and extended family. This was fine for the first few years, but as my career grew, there were fewer and fewer opportunities for me and my training in Florida. So after a few summers of being in California for some time, I decided it was finally time to make the move and call California my new home in the USA. Except, there was a problem. So I tried to avoid another on-camera experience so early in the video, but here we are. So there I was, wanting to move to California, and the problem was I didn't have the money for it. California is very expensive to live in. for me, being home for only a couple months out of the year, to find a lease or rental property for only 2 to 3 months was going to be very difficult, if not impossible for my budget. So I needed a place to live and store my belongings, and I also needed a mode of transportation. Now, I did have a car in storage in California, a 2001 Saturn S Series. I also needed the solution to be under about $3,000, since that was really all the budget I had. Generally, we don't get paid for the summer months. Our contracts are about 6 to 8 months long, so whatever we save during the season is what we then have to live off during the summer. Now, of course, I had friends that would allow me to stay with them if I needed to, but I wanted to make sure I didn't overstay my welcome with anyone. Also, I wanted to be able to travel for volleyball or just trips that I wanted to make and not worry about paying for hotels. I really liked the idea of having my things with me, since the majority of the year I don't. I truly just wanted to finally have a space of my own that once my time with this space ended, I didn't have to then pack up my entire life as I do every single year, at least 2 times. The solution was to buy a van, outfit it to live in it, and then moved to California. Now, I chose to buy this van in Florida because my family lives there. I would have a property to work on, a driveway to work in. All my tools are at my parents' place. In university, I was an art major, a woodworker to be exact, so I have a lot of tools that would really help with this build. Also, in regards to California, I knew that if I were to register a vehicle there, I would have to get it smog tested. And I knew that my budget was so small, I was going to have to purchase a very old van. The chances of this passing smog in California was going to be slim to none. And I just didn't want to risk making those choices out in California already and then being stuck completely. So the obstacles were to find a cheap van, learn how to build it and register it in Florida, and then drive across the USA all before July, and then sell the car in California to use that money to live off of. Easy, right? So that'll be all for today's episode. I really hope you enjoyed. This episode took about a week to make. I'm really new to this YouTube editing thing, not in the sense of time. I actually have another channel that I've had for over 10 years, mainly for my volleyball and some travel stuff. But this is my first time really diving into the little things about editing that give me joy, the timing of things, the sound effects, pulling up old videos and photos from this summer, and it was a really good experience, and I'm looking forward to the rest of this project. I hope you are too, and for those of you who are on your journey now to getting a van, building a van, using that van to make your dreams come true, I really hope this series will inspire you to do it in a super budget way, and I just cannot wait to share this entire journey with you guys. So thank you very much for following along so far, and that's me, Brooke, chiming out. My first time really trying to edit and not look at the camera. Oh, that was terrible. This lighting is so bad.
From the American dream or the world dream that you're supposed to have a mortgage and you're supposed to have a car payment and you're supposed to have a family by this age, get married, da 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 da. You know, the main thing is putting the money into the things that you really want to do, instead of just putting the money into what you think society values.
Well, I told Amanda I would use this thing.